Hello, hi, I'm Dr. Anthony Edwards, and this is Anatomy Physiology 1 Lab. So, wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, but I'll also go ahead and share my screen. But before I do that, I just wanted to make a quick note about the mask policy. So, it is a requirement on campus if you're in a building to wear a mask or a face covering, and make sure that it is over your nose and your mouth, okay? Not just over your mouth, not hanging from your ear, but it is a requirement. If you have a medical reason you can't wear one, make sure that you contact Disability Services so that they can make necessary accommodations and let me know. Um, all right, and just make sure it covers your nose and your mouth. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this off since I'm in my office alone, and we'll go ahead and get started, and I will share my screen. All right, so here we are. So this is, hopefully you are seeing my screen. Let's see. All right. So this is Biology 2401L, or Lab, Anatomy Physiology 1. I'm Dr. Edwards. My office is at Health and Natural Sciences, room 1305. Wednesdays, my office hours are on Wednesdays from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10:40 a.m. to 12:10. And I'll do those as long as the weather's good outside in the pavilion outside the Health and Natural Sciences building. Just make sure to accommodate social distancing. And on Fridays, I do online office hours from 8 a.m. to noon. My office number is 903-693-2098. So I'm actually going to fix that right now. I should say 2098. And email me, just use Canvas inbox. If Canvas is down, you can email me at aedwards_canvas@panola.edu. A little bit about myself. All right, I am basically I'm a graduate of Texas A&M University with a bachelor's in biomedical science, a master's degree in health administration from the A&M Health Science Center, and a doctorate in educational leadership and policy studies. Use a wide variety of tools in this class. Readings, Pearson, we'll use some mastering A&P in this class, and discussions, quizzes, writing assignments, and exams. You got to be self-disciplined. All right. Let's see. And want to make sure that all right, we do some of the things in this class online, so you'll need to, it is a face-to-face class, but we do a lot of things online, so you have to be ready for that. All right, so if you'll click start here, so it takes you to the modules, and you have the class information. You got the sectional syllabus, lab schedule, course information sheet, lab syllabus addendum, has my office hours again. If you want, that's kind of group office hour time. If in that window, if you want to have individual time, you can schedule it here. Yeah, the Carthage open study room hours, when it's open, it's down the hall from me here in the Health and Natural Sciences building, but you can use it to study for your practicals. They do, Ms. Parrott puts out a practice practical. She also does tutoring. Then you can check to see when it's open, where you can just go study anytime, or review the practice practicals, or the time she's got set to review just for this class, for lecture or for lab. Let's see. So let's go ahead and start going over some of these materials. So you have the course syllabus. So it's a 4-hour course if we combine lecture and lab. So even if I'm not your lecture instructor, the overall grade will be a combination of your lecture and your lab grade. Alternate operations, in the event that our class or building or school has to close due to COVID-19, basically anything that we would do turn in face-to-face, you'll turn in online. And then I'll provide more materials for you online in Canvas. All right. We hope that doesn't happen, but we just want to make sure you know that ahead of time. Also want to make sure you know that class doesn't end after Thanksgiving. Face-to-face classes end after Thanksgiving, but you'll have to finish up your remaining assignments and final exam online. All right. Okay, face covering, we went over that already. This course involves critical thinking, communication, and quantitative skills and teamwork. All right, class is made up of a combination of class quizzes that you do in class, quizzes you take in Mastering A&P, and exams that you'll take in class or practicals, and a final exam. Or actually, that's for lecture. You will not have a final exam in lab. All right, so you have just the lab quizzes, Mastering A&P quizzes, and lab exercises. All right, normal grading scale. All right, your lab is 30% of your overall grade, of which 20% comes from lab quizzes, 10% comes from Mastering A&P quizzes, 30% comes from lab exercises, and 40% comes from lab practicals. All right, for lab, you'll need the Green, Robertson, and Strong lab manual. All right. You will sometimes use the Martini book or ebook you get for lecture, but the lab manual is required. All right, courses that are conducted via video conferencing can be recorded, or just our classes can be recorded or shared for instructional purposes by the instructors. So I just want to make you aware, sometimes courses or classes may be recorded for those students who cannot participate due to COVID-19. All right, so let's go to our lab schedule. So if you want to know what's going on in course, what you're doing each week, go to the lab schedule. So this week we're covering lab safety, MSDS, and lab equipment. We have intro, you have exercises that we'll do, and then we've got an intro to Mastering A&P quiz. You'll also get some pre and post lab assignments. I also want to make a note to you, we're going to have to, with the Pearson piece for the lab, I'm going to have to fix that. So those assignments that are due this week will be postponed until we get that fixed, and I'll let you know when it's fixed. All right, next week, use of the microscope, introduction to A&P, and so you'll have a quiz over sections 1A and 3A in the handouts. All right, so then the following week, go over the first day, we'll go over the cell, and then the next class we'll go have the third or second day of the week, we'll have on Thursday, we'll have practical 1. All right. So basically practical 1's over all of this material, whereas the quiz is basically going to be over the first week's material. All right. So we'll show you on here. Okay, it looks like we have all of our practicals before Thanksgiving. Okay, all of our assignments. So you have a quiz 5 and practical 5, rather. So all of these assignments here are predicted to be face-to-face. Quiz 5 and practical 5 would have to be online. All right. So let's see. All right, course information sheet. All right, so make sure, you set your phones to vibrate. Don't have them out unless I ask you to. Sometimes we'll do bell ringers at the beginning of class and exit tickets at the end of class, where you enter information into a Canvas discussion. Also allow students to take pictures of models, but just don't abuse that privilege, and make sure you're focused on class. Have a positive attitude, develop study habits, use time management, be prepared, ask a lot of questions. Okay, figure out how you study best and make sure you do that. practice quizzing yourself a lot. All right, next document, syllabus addendum. All right, if you miss a lab quiz, it has to be for a legitimate reason. It has to be rescheduled, and the makeups are usually more difficult, so try not to miss. And practicals, same way. And lab exercises, points are taken away if you're late on those. All right. Let's see, you can earn a point on your lab average for attendance and 1 point for lab activities. All right, for the attendance policy, basically 1 point will be deducted in lecture and lab for every absence that exceeds the attendance policy. For a 2-day-a-week class, that'd be 3 absences. Also, just want to make sure, because of COVID-19, if you are having symptoms, don't come to class, let me know, and we'll figure out what we need to do, okay? So, so don't let that be the reason that you get, if that's the reason why you have 3 absences, we'll figure things out. All right, next document, Carthage concepts opening and closing. So that study room, here are the hours it is open during the week. Okay, and this is the hours where Ms. Parrott will tutor and for which class. So for A&P1 lab and lecture, that's on Tuesdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 3:45. Okay, so you can go in other times and just study on your own or with someone else, but those are the times that she's available for tutoring specifically. All right, let's see. Let me wait till that goes away. All right, so let's go into information for class. So things you need to make sure you're aware of. So this is a document that's in Canvas in week 1. So one of the things you'll see probably, with a quiz or something like that, is something looks like this. You need to know what each corner represents and each number represents. So if you see a blue diamond with the 1, it's a health hazard. 2 or red is going to be a fire hazard. Yellow or 3 is going to be a reactivity hazard. White would be a special hazard. Okay, so that's something I'm going to make sure you know about. All right, here's some pictures of some basic equipment. Slide and a cover slip that goes over the slide. Okay, you can put a specimen in between. All right, a beaker, scalpel, scissors, flask, test tube with a test tube holder. Here's an organ model. Here's a dropping bottle or dropper, a graduated cylinder. And you might also see a thermometer. Most of you have probably seen that, so I just want to make sure you know about that equipment. All right, also back on this document, it kind of tells you kind of what it's for, so I want to make sure you've seen that. Material safety data sheet, so this is important. MSDS helps you know basically how to handle a chemical normally and if it's spilled, right? So minimum precautions for safe handling, right? All right, make sure it's not blank, it has to have everything on it. So things you should be able to figure out is what substance is described in it, what's the chemical formula, all right, and special health hazards, how would you handle a spill, what first aid procedures should be used if it gets in contact with you. Okay, we went over the different kinds of hazards. This tells you different levels, all right, so basically, you'll go from 0 to 4 all the way down, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for each column. And the higher the number, the more reactive it is, okay, or the worse of a hazard it is, okay. So you'll need to know that pattern, that the higher the number, the more of a hazard it is. All right, let's see. Okay, and here's that diamond pattern again. Remember higher numbers tell you how much of a hazard it is. Okay. All right. All right, so liquids that are flammable will ignite easily. Okay. All right, release of energy is known as stability. The substances in a liquid or gas state is going to be very highly flammable. All right, something that's carcinogenic causes cancer. An irritant makes your tissues and membranes itch or become red. Toxic means it can, basically it's a chemical that can make you sick, damage your body. You need to know special symbols, and we have another document with some of those as well. All right, so you've got some of these here, and so we'll need to go over that. All right, we also have a practical review sheet. So for section 1A, so it tells you for the practical, you know, what's covered. For what we need to know for the first week and for the quiz is this information here, or 1A, lab equipment handout, material safety data sheet. Okay, so also something that reacts with air is an oxidizer. I'll make sure you know that. Okay. All right, so let me go back here. And practical. So this shows you the weeks and what we cover each week. Here's a practice practical for you. Here's our practical 1 study guide. So it's a few things I want to cover for you real quick before we go on here. All right. Again, we're just covering the first exercise. So eyewash bottle, broken glass container, a biohazard container, sharps container, fire blanket, fire extinguisher. So you should be able to identify those. Again, we talked, and we'll need to know functions. So you might have to know the name, or you might have to know the function. Okay. Beakers transfer or hold liquids, flasks hold liquids or help make solutions, funnels help transfer liquids, graduated cylinders are for measuring liquids accurately. Microscope slide cover will protect the specimen from the microscope. Dissecting scissors will cut your dissecting or organism. Microscope slides are for holding your specimen. For viewing under the microscope, scalpels are for cutting the dissection organism. Forceps are for transferring, picking up small objects. Your T-pins are for holding down your organism for dissection. Dissecting probe helps you point at the dissecting organism. Your eyedropper transfers small amounts of liquid. Your dissection tray holds an organism during dissection. Gloves protect your body and your hands. Pipettes will transfer small amounts of liquid. Your Bunsen burners will provide a flame or fire source for heat as well as sterilization. Test tubes hold liquids in an experiment. Your test tube holder holds your individual test tube. A test tube rack holds multiple test tubes. A microscope magnifies specimens. Triple beam balance measures weight. Thermometer measures temperature, obviously. Hot plate is a heat source, heats up liquids. Here are some different examples of organ models. You see the eye, kidney, and the heart. Here's a torso model. It has most of the body on it. Okay, we went over these different colors and what they mean already. Okay, if you see the line through it, it means don't put any water near it. See this symbol? It's a biohazard. This one's radioactive. It's the oxidizer, reacts with air. This is the carcinogen symbol. It's another one for or basically this one is when it burns, right? Oxidizer will burn in the presence of oxygen. Air, this one with the line through it will react with air. It may not be necessarily burning, but it will react with air. All right, so that is for week 1. So hopefully that prepares you for the quiz, and good luck. So this is Dr. Evers signing out. See you next week. Again, I'll be in touch with you, and see you soon.